Hey guys, it's Melissa. I have had a lot of people ask me over the last year about my story, about what has drawn me so much to It Works Global, what has made me so passionate about it, and what makes me, change out all of my clothing for It Works clothes. So I thought I would do a little video just so that you could hear it from me. I actually had someone say it perfectly the other day. She said, I love hearing your story from your lips, not even just in writing, not even just through pictures, but from your actual lips. So here I am telling you my story from my lips. So I want to back up a little bit. My husband and I, Bill, have been married for almost 17 years. And a couple years into our marriage, actually just a year into our marriage, we bought our first semi. And if you don't know anything about owning a semi, it's really expensive. And so it costs a lot of money to run it, costs a lot of money to maintain it, costs a lot of money to fix it. So our first time that we owned a semi, we did not know how to handle such large amounts of payments and just everything. And so we got into a lot of debt. Almost all of it was business debt, but it was still debt. We still had to pay it. So anyways, fast forward, we got out of the semi and he worked locally for a little bit. But by this time, we were in over our heads financially. We were at a place where we were regularly behind on our mortgage, almost always 30 days, sometimes even 60, and I'm pretty sure one time we were pushing 90 days late. We were regularly late on our utilities. A lot of it was because I never knew, we never had quite enough money to pay everything, so it was overwhelming. So I would often avoid paying the bills. Bill was on the road all the time, and so it was, it was my responsibility to get them paid. And I would talk to him, and we would pray over what can we pay, where can we pay it. But it was like paralyzing because it would take me so long, and it was such an emotional process every single time we got paid that I would just avoid it, and that would only push payments back a little bit further. It was just a horrible cycle. So anyways, then we ended up owning a semi again, and that time went amazing. We had learned so much from the first time. We learned to, save as much as we could, to pay cash as often as we could. We accelerated, we paid way more on our payments than we needed to so that we would not be in the negative, so if we had to get out, we wouldn't owe more than it was worth. What happened with that, though, is that we were not getting paid all the time because we made the business a priority. We made making sure that those things got paid as a priority. So we actually, for several years, went about half the year without any income. So that's just kind of showing you what our financial picture was like as far as income. I was a photographer, but we had lots of little kids, and I was home by myself during the week a lot alone, and so I needed to be careful how much I actually took on as far as business went. So anyways, about 7.5 years ago, we were in a place where we were so bad financially. We were thinking if something didn't change that minute, we would lose our home, we would lose our car, and we did not know what to do. So we were praying a lot, trying to figure out what the best avenue was, and my mom gave me a book by Dave Ramsey called The Total Money Makeover. And to be quite honest, I was really annoyed. We had read a lot of different financial books, or tried to read a lot of financial books, and basically they were always books by millionaires telling you how to make more money, and that was clearly not us. So I didn't really care about the millionaires who were making more money. So this book was clearly different within the first few pages, and I went home, Bill was home that night, and we went and sat in our yard, and I read out loud to him for hours. We basically read almost the whole book in one sitting, and we made the decision right then and there that we were going to get out of debt. We could not even begin to imagine how that was going to work. At that time, we had about $125,000 in a business and a little bit of personal debt. That was not including our house. But, we were having a hard time making our monthly payments as it was. We couldn't imagine how we were going to actually tackle that amount of money. But we knew that if we didn't make the decision to start making action steps towards that goal, that nothing would ever change. And if it changed, it would only get worse, and we would be without a house. So I emailed all of our friends and family that night, just told them what we were doing so that they would know, please don't ask us to go out to coffee, please don't ask us to go out to lunch or dinner or to the movies. We probably won't be participating in gift exchanges for a while. We won't be going on vacations, those kind of things, just so that we weren't tempted when people came to us and asked us to do things. And we knew that our friends and family would be respectful of our, request to to not ask us to do those things. So that was how it started. And then we went through and cut out every single thing we could in our budget. Like we had Netflix, and it's so easy to be like, well, Netflix is like $11 a month. Why would you need to cut that out? But we cut that out. Our internet was maybe $50 a month, and I had to have internet for my job. As a photographer, I needed to be able to communicate with people online. I needed to be able to upload images, that kind of thing. But we cut it down to the bare minimum to like $25 a month, and it just required longer amounts of time for me to upload my images, which was fine. Again, it's easy to think, well, it's only $25 a month. How can that save us anything? We reduced our cell phone bill to the bare minimum and just had to be really careful with what we did with that. We kept cell phones because Bill was on the road. It was really important for our marriage that we were able to continue to talk on a regular basis, but we went down to the bare minimum. So we did that on everything we could, and then we actually eliminated everything we could. And what basically what happened is we started making $5, $10, $15, and $20 choices that allowed us to, in the first 3 months, pay off $10,000. That does not even make sense to me. Like on paper, literally makes 0 cents, but that is what happened. So we started this process of getting out of debt, made all these little choices. You know, if you think about small choices, if you make $5, $10 purchases in a week, what's $50 in a week? And if you do that every month, that's $200 a month. We spend money on small things way more than we realize. Like we used to stop, if we ever stopped to get gas, it was very common to grab something, I don't know, a bottle of pop or some gum or whatever. And we stopped doing that because that was only a few dollars here and there, but that added up. So anyways, and then I got very, very careful with our groceries. So like, let's say I had $123 for groceries. I could only spend $123 in groceries, which meant I made a grocery list every time I went to the grocery store. And next to every item I was buying, I would write the dollar amount because I learned very quickly how much every single thing cost. Plus, we tended to buy the same kinds of food that allowed us to stick within a budget. But if I ever got to the point where, like, if I had $123 in money to spend, but I had $127 on my grocery list, I had to go through and eliminate $4 worth of groceries. I did that time and time and time again. So we cut up all of our credit cards. We actually even cut up our debit card. We did not have a debit card for probably the first 4 years, just because it's easy to spend money with your debit card without realizing. So we went to a cash system. And so that was the beginning of getting out of debt. However, even as we paid off debt, even as we started seeing, you know, all of this debt that we have going down, our income kind of has always corresponded going down next to it. So we weren't necessarily freeing up the amount of cash every month that we had anticipated. And that was really, really, really frustrating for me. Bill and I kind of always deal with our emotions at opposite times. So like when I'm really struggling, he tends to be strong and doing well, and then vice versa. And so about a year into this, I was just mad. I was like, Bill works all the time. He cannot work anymore, like literally. And I work as much as I possibly can for being home with the kids by myself. You know, he's not even home. That's how much he's working. We don't see him. And I didn't understand why our income kept going down and why it was just continuing to be so hard. And I went to a coffee shop one day because someone had given me a gift card, because we did not spend money on ourselves very often. And I was just having some quiet time by myself, and I was reading my Bible, and I was praying, and I was crying, and I was like, I don't understand. And I opened my Bible, and God brought me to some verses in Jeremiah, and I'm just going to paraphrase. But basically, in Jeremiah, the prophet, he was talking to Judah and Jerusalem, and he was saying to these cities, he's like, although you have been completely leveled, you have been made a wasteland, you look like nothing can survive here, God is going to use you, he's going to rebuild you, and he's going to rebuild you to a place of being prosperous so that all the nations will look at you and they will know that God did this. And when I read that, it was as if God was sitting next to me and talking to my face, and he said, that is my promise to you. I know you feel like you have been leveled, you feel like you are a wasteland right now, you feel like how can anything good come out of where you're at, because it is continually such a struggle. He's like, but my promise is that I'm going to rebuild you to a place where everyone who knows you will see that God did this. And so I brought that promise home to Bill, and we cried over it, and we've prayed about it, and we have hung on to that promise for years, having no idea when that time frame would be, of course. And over the next several years, it continued to be hard. Bill's income continued to go down, even as our debt went down. And but God showed himself, and he taught us so many things. Like, we never want to go back to that place of being in so much debt, but we also would never change that path that we had to go down, because God taught us so many things. He taught us so much about need versus want. Like, we used to use the word need a lot, and basically I don't think we ever use that word anymore, unless if we're like, I need a drink of water, that kind of thing. Pretty much everyone in the United States, everything we wish we had is a want, because almost everybody has their needs provided for. And he taught us that we have a heart. He gave us a heart for taking care of people. We've always wanted to take care of people, but he made that more prominent in our spirit. And part of that is because he has taken care of us in ridiculously huge ways, like ways that I will tell you a few of them. And even as I speak them, I feel like I'm lying because they're so huge. Not only did he take care of us in small ways, like gift cards and, dinners out and that kind of thing, but we've had some major things. For example, we needed a new stove. Our stove was literally, it would spit fire at me sometimes. And we were planning on buying one, but it was, it always was a process of saving and that kind of thing. And a friend of mine was like, you need a new stove. I am buying you a new stove. So I had a friend buy me a new stove. Someone else knew that, I was home with 5 kids by myself. At this point, we had 5 kids, and Bill was on the road, and we didn't have a dishwasher, which is just how it was. And so I did dishes a lot. I'm pretty sure I did 7 hours of dishes a day. And so this person was like, I really want you to not have to spend so much time doing dishes, so I'm buying you a dishwasher. Clearly not a need, but what an amazing blessing. And so they bought us a dishwasher. Someone else in our life there was a point when Bill was not actually over the road trucking, but he was home every night, but he worked 2 jobs. So he would come home from one job, literally just go right on to the next job, and he wouldn't get home until after dark in the summer, and that is easily between 9:30 and 10 o'clock at night. So even though he was technically home, he didn't get to see the kids, and sometimes I didn't even get to see them. So this person in our life said, for 1 year, they had witnessed how much Bill was gone and how little we saw him, and they said, for 1 year, if Bill will quit that second job, we will supplement the income that job brings in, just so he can be home more. This was so many years ago, and I still cry about it. One time, Bill had some friends that always went snowmobiling in the mountains, and Bill loves snowmobiling, and they asked him every year to join them, and every year he was like, thanks, I can't go. He's like, I can't even go on vacation with my family. Definitely can't spend money that way. But he would always just be really cheerful and be like, have a great time. Maybe next year will be the time I can go. And so a few years ago, they asked him, and again, he was like, thanks, guys. I wish I could. It's not going to work. And they were like, no, we're going to take you. It is our gift to you. So yeah, an all-expense trip paid to the mountains to go snowmobiling. My goal was not to cry during that. Anyways, so as we have gotten out of debt, it has been one of the hardest things we've ever done. We had to make a choice every single day to choose. We would look at our long-term goal is to get out of debt. When you're looking at $125,000 and getting out of debt or of income, that is a mountain. And we did not have the equipment to climb up that kind of mountain. But thankfully, God took our hand and he walked us step by step. And every single time that we, approached a hard spot, he would just pick us up and put us over. Even if it was painful, he would do that for us. And so although it was an exhausting, it's been 7.5 years, it's been really tiring. But he has just shown himself in a way that we can't even really put into words. We learned to trust him in a way that I didn't even know was possible. We stopped crying every single time we did our bills, and we got to a point where we'd say, okay, it's time to do the bills. We're going to pray about this. And even if there's not enough money, we're going to be okay, because every single month we were okay. We never lost a house. We didn't ever lose a car. None of those things happened. We always had food on our table, and we had joy. God taught us how to be joyful through a really exhausting situation. So anyways, about 2 years ago, we were still getting out of debt, and it was still tight because his income had continued to go down, and my business was kind of fading away, my photography business, so my income had gone down. And I was just praying, and I was kind of upset again, and I was like, Lord, I don't understand. Like, you know, we always have just enough, but when will we have more than enough? And he said very clearly, again, as if he was sitting next to me, he's like, well, you never ask for more than enough. You just ask for enough. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's true. Okay. And I knew this promise that he had given, the promise I believed had given us was going to be more than enough, but I really didn't know when that would happen. To me, it could have been 2 days before I turned 100. You know, it didn't mean that it was going to happen anytime soon. And so I started asking God for more than enough, knowing that it wasn't because I wanted to go buy things. It wasn't because I wanted to have monstrous houses or brand new cars. Two of the things that God showed us so much through our process of getting out of debt was that we had a desire to take care of people in a huge way. In those huge ways that people took care of us, like we cannot wait to be able to take care of other people that way. We've always given, you know, the Bible asks us to give 10% of what we make. And so we, no matter how much or how little we've had, we've always made that a priority. But we wanted to do more. We want to do more than that. We want to supplement someone's income for a year so that they can be home with their family more. Like, that is just such an incredible gift to be able to offer someone. And the other thing is that we realized that he planned to have us adopt someday. And so if you don't know this, we actually just are in the process of adopting our first adopted child, and she's 16 and she is amazing. She fits into our family amazing, and we are so blessed to be able to have her. So God started revealing to us that these are the things he wanted to do with us. So I started praying for more than enough, because I was like, how are we ever going to be able to give to people in these huge ways if we never have more than enough? How are we going to be able to adopt if we don't have at least a little bit more than enough, you know? And so that's what I started praying. So I prayed for that for about a year. And, I told Bill about it, and he started praying about that too. And then about a year ago, I was getting to the place where my income, my photography really had stopped, basically was done. And I was very peaceful about that, but I wanted a part-time job. So we've been praying that I could find the right fit for our family, as far as a part-time job. And nothing was feeling quite right, seeming very peaceful, about it. And so just kept looking and praying. And then I heard about these crazy wrap things. And I had been following a friend of mine on Instagram for about a year, and she talked, every once in a while about these crazy wrap things and how amazing her business was. And I had never thought about the business part. I just wanted to try these wraps. And the reason I wanted to try these wraps is because it's not a vanity thing for me. I didn't want to try to have a body that I don't really have. I am a mom. I have birthed 5 children. Obviously, I'm going to have some dents in my body that I am proud of. However, as a woman, and I think almost every woman can understand this, when I am uncomfortable in my body, and usually for me that is around my waist, I am distracted because of that discomfort, and that discomfort causes me to not be able to focus on what the task at hand, whether I am, in a conversation with someone, or whether I'm trying to teach my kids because I homeschool, or if I am at church and I am trying to worship. I am distracted by the discomfort of my body. And so I really wanted these wraps to try to see if I could just help remove some of that distraction. I work out regularly and I eat pretty decently, and so it wasn't like I was just sitting around doing nothing. And so sorry, some kids just came in their room. Anyways, so I didn't have the money for them. It was not in our budget. So I sent her a message and just said, how about you give me a box of wraps and I will advertise for you. I will share these, on Instagram and Facebook, and if you get the amount of customers you want, then that is what you will get. Or, then I get to have the wraps, you get your customers. And otherwise I'll pay for them. And she said, sure. She's like, I like that idea. So before I had even gotten the wraps, I had just posted that I had ordered them or whatever. She already got several customers from that. And then by the time I actually tried the wraps, she had several more. And so she texted me one day and she was like, Melissa, you need to be doing this. She's like, all of these people that are becoming my customers, they would be your customers. Like, you could be making money while using these products. And I was like, that's it. That's what I've been praying for. That is the part-time job I've been looking for. And there was a reason in my situation to sign up sooner than later. So I didn't actually have Bill have time to talk to Bill about it. And so I joined without talking to him, which I never do. I never make life-changing decisions without talking to Bill. And I also spent money that we didn't really have, which I never do, without talking to him. But what I knew is that I had some time to sell these wraps individually for $25 a piece, and I could recover the money that I had just, invested into starting this business. And so that was my goal. I was like, okay, I got to sell this many wraps in the next few weeks, which wasn't hard because I was excited and wanted to tell people about it, and people wanted to try them. So that is how I got introduced to It Works. And literally the minute I started, I heard God say to me, this is It Works job, this team that you're joining, this is the beginning of the fulfillment of my promise I gave you all of those years ago. And I just got excited. It's just like, oh, I can't wait to see what he's going to do with this. And I have been very fortunate. I took off. I just kind of hit the ground running. I have fallen in love with this company. I have fallen in love with these products. They are life-changing products. We are so much more than wraps. The wraps are really fun, but we have things that have helped people with chronic pain, with headaches, migraines. I used to get migraines almost weekly, and I rarely get migraines anymore. I sleep in a way that I've never been able to sleep before. People who have, digestive issues, much better. Arthritis pain is, being taken care of, and depression and anxiety and stress. Like, I know people who have gotten off of their antidepressants because of one of our products, and because they're organic and non-GMO, it is, you feel so much better putting that in your body than medication. And so our products are life-changing. Our team is incredible. I was not looking for friends. I have a lot of friends. I have a lot of really good friends. I have a huge family. I'm so close to my family. My mom and my sister and my sisters-in-law are some of my best friends. I have an extended family that I'm close to, so I was not looking for relationships at all. And yet, that is what I have found. I have this whole team of people that I can confide in, I can talk to, they pray for me, I get to pray for them. We get to be Jesus with skin on to each other. We get to lift each other up, build each other up. I was a photographer for all these years, and never once was I a part of any kind of photography forum or anything where I felt built up in my business. I felt criticized more than anything. I felt like it was always a challenge as who was the best, who is the elite, who gets to be in this, popular group. I mean, really, it kind of felt like high school. And that has not been the case here. We build each other up all the time. We root each other on. My business took off really quickly, and I can't tell you how many people have just stood around me and cheered me on and been proud of me and not made me feel like, well, who are you to think that your business can take off so quickly? Being a part of this business has changed my life. God has shown me that He has created me to be a leader. I love leading my team. I love encouraging them. I love praying with them and for them. I love talking and getting to know them. I have made some deep, intimate relationships. And the company, I don't really think I know how to put into words what this company is. As if you know me, you know that my faith is like everything to me. I love to share Jesus with people. I love to introduce people to Jesus. And this company, that is basically their foundation, is they use this wrap business to introduce people to Jesus. Like, I might cry. I was just at a conference with 15,000 people, and scripture was quoted from stage more times than I can even count. I mean, it was unbelievable. Jesus was given the glory over and over and over again. And that is the prayer for my life, is that no matter where God brings me, no matter what He does with me, that it all points back to Him, which of course was that promise that He gave me, is that whatever He does with me in this business, I don't know, but I know that it is going to bring Him glory, because that was His promise, is that He is going to use my story to point people back to Him. So as you watch me loving this business, talking to you about products, offering the opportunity, I feel like I have to offer the opportunity to everyone, because it has completely changed our life. Not only has it changed my life in the way that I have already told you, but financially, for the first time in our life, we are not living paycheck to paycheck. Even as there's ebbs and flows in any kind of business, we are still in a place that I never dreamt we were. Right now, we have a rental property that we've had some issues with over the last couple months, and so we are paying 2 mortgages, and we are, recovering there's a lot of expenses that were involved with our renters not paying some different things and ruining some things. And obviously it makes it tight, like we have to be careful, but never in our life would we have been able to support 2 mortgages. And we were able to finish our basement this summer, which allowed us to have a space for our new daughter. And we've been able to give in ways, we've started to be able to give in ways that we have dreamt of for all of these years. I can't wait to see what God has in store for the next year and the following year. But anyway, so that is my story. As you watch me be so excited, it is not about money. It is not about anything other than I see Jesus in this business, and I get to point Jesus to people because of this business.